Hello, everyone. I'll be doing a raw reaction to Turning Veganese latest video regarding let's just pop it up real quick. We need a unified definition of veganism, which I agree with, and I think most vegans agree with. So I will be giving my opinions and potential disagreements, agreements, and uh, additional stipulations that has to be in the definition. I may miss some points, but feel free in the comments to add or or disagree. But yeah, we gotta come to a unified definition because having this wide range of interpretation leads to non-vegan or non-animal uh, ex- exploitation um, yeah, acts to be not followed consistently, basically. So, sorry, I'm a little brain fog because I just woke up and I'm still fatigued. So, and I'm injured at the moment. So, um, I ask that y'all give me some slack. But let's get straight to it.
And now, a dramatic reading of the Vegan Society's definition of veganism. Veganism is a philosophy and way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose, and by extension promotes the development and use of animal free alternatives for the benefit of animals, humans, and the environment. In dietary terms, it denotes the practice of dispensing with all products derived wholly or partly from animals.
Yeah, so that is extremely has a wide extreme range of interpretation. So I'll just go through what shouldn't be removed from the definition. So let's start with veganism as a philosophy and a way of living which seeks to exclude as far as is possible and practicable. So the as far as possible and practicable, that needs to be changed to uh seeks to exclude um simply needs to be removed because we know it's possible and practicable completely. Um, we do not need to exploit animals any longer within society, and I challenge anybody to a debate who disagrees with that um, regarding that issue. But if you happen to disagree with that and you claim to be vegan, yeah, we should schedule a debate with that with those you know description words basically because they extremely have a wide range of interpretation which even a non-vegan can adopt to and by definition can be labeled a vegan when they're not actually refraining from animal exploitation, which is the ultimate that's the point of all animal cruelty within human interaction with animals basically because we exploit animals. That's basically all the direct cruelty we do to them. There are different. There are indirect cruelty acts towards animals that we do, but that does not involve exploitation. But that's just a part of living. The only way to eliminate that type of indirect cruelty would be to just wipe out all human existence. Um, which I'm not going to advocate because that's completely unreasonable. I think we all should have a right to exist. So we should have a right to exist, but exist without exploiting animals. Period. Um, we can move on. Animals offers exploitation of a cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose. So yeah, that's basically the exploitation factor. So exclude all forms of exploitation, um, and that includes anything, even medical, I think all that should be banned. It's just like forcing human children to be exploited, to be tested on when they absolutely cannot consent to such experimentation, especially forcibly. There is innocent to human children, mentally, psychologically, and develop. Well, not I want to say in development, like physical development. That's completely different, and impossible. But yeah, regarding mental development, yeah, animals cannot interpret and understand that level of to be able to give consent. So again, we can debate that if anybody is interested, but yeah, feel free to put that disagreement and challenge the debate in the comments if you're interested. Um, uh, any other purpose? So yeah, we should treat animals like we treat human children, basically, is what I'm saying. Uh, to be logically consistent, with we should be treating them like minors, basically, legally, and in practice, yeah, we should be like protect them like like they're human children, um, yeah, because they're so similar in mental development, um, and I find that the only exception to that would be consenting human adults, who can give written and well, uh, some people can't write because they don't have limbs, but can give verbal, and some people cannot also talk too. So they could do sign. Well, again, some people can't do sign language, but for the people who would want to be tested on to further give consent, they can. I'm sure there's multiple ways they can give consent, different to animals and children. But yeah, the that requirement has to be among adult human animals, basically. Um, it cannot go outside of that to be able to do medical or any of that type of stuff, and that would not be labeled exploitation as a result because it would be consensual. But if somehow a human is unable to get consent, then yeah, if that act was to be done onto them and they were unable to give consent, um, then yeah, that would be deemed exploitation. That would be that should be banned. That should not be allowed. That should be treated equal to minors, basically. Is my point. Um, so I'm sure I probably missed some other aspects of that, but feel free to add that in the comments. Um, development. Yes, and yeah. So for example, with the regarding and by extension promotes development and use of animal-free alternatives, which I agree with. That is absolutely as long as if we can develop animal products without actual animalia being exploitation going on, and the product actually has to do with animals that are completely made from a lab. So like an example that I like to give is California company who makes I forgot what they call, but I think it's California Performance Company. Yes, I think. Um, they make a vegan whey protein product, and that is completely lab made. No animals had to go through any type of exploitation. No cow. It was just all completely fermented through a lab. So 100%. So yeah, as long as an animal product can be made from a lab 100%, that would be vegan by definition. Um, so and the part that says yeah, for the benefit of animals and animals alone. It should say the benefit of animals and animals alone. There's no benefit to consuming any animal product. And I'd be happy to defend that in debate if anybody disagrees with that. for any purpose, basically, even medical or whatever other practical purpose somebody might bring up. Yeah, no, we do not need animals. We have the intelligence and technology, or we're in the middle of developing the technology to be able to find non-animal exploitative uses or products to be used as alternatively. So yeah, all animals are off the you know all animal beings are off the you know off the conversation, off limits, basically. Like they should be refrained completely from. Um, what should be excluded from this definition is for the benefit of animals. No, no, not animals, of humans and the environment. So again, just by existing, we literally have no ecological benefit to the environment, nor animals. So, like, if humans died off, everything else on this planet would benefit. So, by definition, humans existing, we will end up um, causing a direct, not benefit, but you know, uh, the negation of a benefit. So we all we do is destroy and we waste. We will be creating more demise of the environment. So if we take that definition literally, that would mean we have to wipe out all humans basically. And humans also are the direct cause of human suffering and um destruction, well-being as well. We have weapons of mass destruction, all that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's you can try to ban that stuff practically, but yeah, again, this has nothing to do with animals. Animals have no say with human political issues. So humans and the environment should be taken off the table because uh that would be adding and that would be further causing um more uh complications of interpretation to end up directly exploiting animals. Um, so we should, and also that's intersectional. That's all. That's an intersectional based definition, and we know that animals are always get the back seat to human issues. So whenever there's a conversation with animals, with inclusion of humans, humans are first on the list to take care of, which is backwards because humans are the direct cause of the problems, and we need to focus on the the victims of human actions. So humans going after the human issues, well, animals still will have the problem of being exploited, and that'll take longer to further abolish than just going directly to abolish animal exploitation and then focus on humans. So we have it exactly backwards. So we focus on human issues, but the animals get the backseat, and their holocaust and detriment is still prolonged. Basically, is what I'm saying. We need uh, vegan is supposed to be exclusion of animal beings completely. It should not be including any human issues because if whenever human issues are involved, animals get the back seat on the issue, and then their suffering and demise is prolonged. Because humans, we are very we prolong everything of all the evil that exists in the world, so we're directly responsible for it. So we need to tackle the issues directly with animals and not include humans in that, basically. I hope that is clear, but I'm sorry if I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. And if not, I could try to explain it in a formal debate if anybody's interested, but we'll see. um in dietary terms, I'm sorry with this. Oops, what the fuck? Um, it denotes the practice of dispensing all animal products derived wholly and partly from animals. So, um, yeah, we're talking about the practice of um all animal products. So all um animal products that has to do with exploiting animals. If a product does not have to do with exploiting animals and is in fact vegan, like that vegan whey protein product, as I mentioned before. So we can move on now. I've went through that. We could just listen to Veganese give his 2 cents, and I'll butt in where I see fit. But I just had to go through and give that uh introduction to my problems with the definition from my perspective. Now I'll let Veganese go on. Oops, hold on. I had
Not
him
good enough.
muted.
In extension, promotes the development and use of animal-free alternatives, dietary now outdated words without explaining their such and so forth. Gives way.
I'm
The
sorry.
extension promotes the development and use of animal-free alternatives for the benefit of animals, practice of dispensing with all products derived wholly or partly from animals. Now, this definition is, in my opinion, not good enough. It must be revised and updated. Why? Because it leaves room to many interpretations, it throws a lot of words without explaining their intended meaning, and gives way for people to find loopholes, moral gray areas, and such and so forth. One of the problems is that many vegans are running with their own definition and or their own interpretation of the vegan society's definition.
Yes, I would agree with that. Like we have vegan gains definition, what has to do with reducing overall rights violations to animals, which would still allow animal exploitation. So it will still allow for uh uh medical use, because that would be reducing overall rights violations to animals and humans. We are a part of the animal kingdom, but because of we always prioritize humans over other human animals. Then that's why we need to exclude humans from the definition because uh the animal holocaust, the animal exploitation will always exist otherwise. Because all we do is prolong it. We don't never tackle the non-human animal issues before humans, basically, because we're fucking selfish by nature. It's proven.
This creates a problem when advocating for animals to unsuspecting non vegans who are not aware of any of this. So we run the risk of different vegans explaining something completely different to non vegans who then go by these personal and biased definitions and just run with it, not helping or even harming non human animals in the process. You know, the actual victims of a horrible moral atrocity who we are supposed to be helping liberate. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm guilty of this myself, because I too have my own version of veganism tailored to what I think it should be, and I'm not saying here that my version is the best or the one we should all adopt or anything. All I'm saying here is that we need to come up with something like a book with a new version of veganism, its definition and set of rules, and make it as clear as possible and leave as little room as possible for interpretation, loopholes, moral gray areas, and the like. Now, I don't have an exact definition myself, but these are the problem areas I see with the current one. First of all, the words possible and practicable. Man alive, this one is like it seems like it's basic enough and that anyone would understand these things, but they don't. Case in point, certain skeptic of the cosmic variety who one day decided that it wasn't practicable for me, so I'm not vegan anymore. Goodbye.
Exactly. It could be so practicable. It could be interpreted as the most convenient, basically. Um, well, so I think veganism goes into it. So yeah, the problem with that word is like with Cosmic Skeptic, he interpreted practicable to mean as far as convenient as possible. So obviously, you can find an animal product more convenient than a non-animal product. So therefore, it's justified to consume the animal product because of that, which is obviously a direct contradiction to the whole point of being vegan, right? The point of being vegan is to completely refrain from animal exploitation. Period. Like. We don't, in the human context, let's say, you understand. I don't even need to go into more detail. Just in the human context, we wouldn't do that, right? So I'll just go on.
No, not good enough, my man, not good enough. That's terrible. He never explained why it wasn't practicable for him or anything. He never gave any explanation or gave any proof of his supposed illness or his mental health or whatever. He never explained any of that. He just was like, yeah, yeah, I'm not vegan anymore. Good boy. Okay, perfect. Goodbye, numquat. Now, the problem with this is that many people confuse the word practicable with the word practical. It's two completely different things. Practicable refers to something that can be done, and practical refers to the most efficient way to do that something. Let's give you an example. Let's say that I want some fries, and for my friends on the other side of the Atlantic, some chips. But I'm just gonna call them fries from here on out. I want some fries. So I go to the store, I can buy some potatoes, bring them home, wash them, chop them into shape, fry them, and eat them. Now that's practicable. But I can also do this other thing. I can go to the same store, and instead of getting the potatoes, I just grab a bag of pre-cut fries, yeah, frozen fries ready to fry. I bring this back home, throw them in the fryer. I get myself a serving of fries. Now this second option is more practical, even though both are practicable in the sense that they both can be done. Only one is easier than the other. It takes less time or less effort to make. Another area of problem area that I see is this part about the benefit of animals, humans, and the environment. What? I'm sorry, what benefit to the humans and the environment? Take that off. Take that off. It doesn't matter. I've said in previous videos, like any benefit that comes to humans or the environment is just an added bonus, it's just some side effect, a happy coincidence, a happy accident, but it's not the mission, it's not the end goal here. This is to liberate animals from the horrible things we do to them. Anything that deviates from that, it's outside of veganism. Or at least, in my view, it should be considered outside of veganism.
Yeah, I agree with that. So humans, again, we're responsible for what? I don't even know the stat, but it's over 95% of all animal, uh, you know, just, killing, exploitation, slavery, everything. Um, like we use animals for almost everything in this goddamn society, and it's a fucking shame. We're so technologically smart, but we're so ethically retarded. Um, we don't treat children the way we treat animals. Human children. Let's be specific. We don't. You know, it's just completely hypocritical. So for us to be again, like I said before, when we uh intersectionalize human issues um into uh the purpose of animal well-being, well, again, we're gonna obviously selfishly we're gonna you know um put in front humans before animals. So therefore, it's going to contradict literally the whole point of eliminating animal exploitation. We're going to literally prolong animal exploitation and prioritize eliminating all these human issue problems, which we're the cause of, and we're going to still fucking continue to be the cause of because all this bureaucracy and shit. It's going to take forever for us to agree with stopping all this animal exploitation through these human issues. You know what I'm saying? And also, there's so many different types of human issues. Again, it's gonna by the time we get to the animals, literally humans are gonna be extinct, and therefore animals are gonna be extinct, and the environment is gonna be destroyed. So it makes no absolutely no fucking sense, basically. So yeah, we need to focus. This definition needs to be specifically focused on the animals and animals only. Otherwise, the issue would not be the world would never be vegan. Basically, is the point. Animal exploitation will always exist.
I don't know, just putting it out there. This is my view. So, of course, feel free to leave it in the comments what you think about this and what's your point of view and all of that. But this is my perspective. Now, one of the problems with this environmental approach is that environmentalists can exploit this and find ways to still use, abuse, and exploit animals and make it more environmentally friendly than not using and abusing these animals. So even though it seems far-fetched, it can be done. We don't know what new technologies may come. We don't know what things are we going to do to animals in the name of profit and consumption. And humans are just basically horrible. We're always trying to find new ways of doing more horrible stuff. So it would not surprise me if, to end the environmental angle of veganism, these horrible industries came up with ways to exploit animals in a more environmentally friendly way, therefore making veganism like nullifying that angle at least. So to me, that's why the environment, not really the thing that we should be focusing on, really. And the human part, I mean, what is this thing? Do not include humans in this because the problem is that many vegans already do this. I said this in one of my previous videos about these types of vegans that go humanity first or these gatekeeping, mostly intersectionals. And I'm sorry, intersectionals, I know your heart is in the right place, but your actions are completely misguided. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to debate that woman Catherine Klein. If anybody has her in close contact, let her know I'm interested. I saw her debate with another vegan activist. I forgot the channel name, but I apologize. I think his name was I forgot his name too. I'm sorry. I'm not very social, so I don't even try to remember people's names. But I remember Catherine because I remember I directly challenged through the comments of the debate. Um, and yeah, through somebody's video. But that's besides the point. Yeah, I'm interested in debating that intersectional, um, and I'll happily point out all these problems that would not be solved through an intersectional viewpoint because they still exist. Excuse me. I'm 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 just getting annoyed because you know this is a very it's an issue that's so easily to be you know um fixed, but people just lazily and arrogantly just believe it can be fixed through focus on humans, which clearly it can't because humans, all we do is prolong all these problems that keep going on through bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is the problem of all these problems. So we can convince people individually to stop causing these problems, stop paying for it, then we can then get to the systematic issue. But when the profit keeps, when the system um when the system thrives on all these problems prolonging, you're not going to change anything. So you cannot, you know, uh, you cannot rely on these intersectional views to fix this issue with animal exploitation. Um, all right.
I mean, these intersectionals, there's the most gatekeeping of them of the vegans. They're like, oh, if you don't include this human rights issue or this other human rights issue in your veganism, you're not really a vegan. No, it's the other way around, dear intersectional. If you include human issues in veganism, and not only you include them, but you make them the priority, and you make the animals like the second, like the second place thing, like oh well, just an afterthought or whatever. You're the one who's not vegan. Now the word product, I don't like it either. Like for example, when it says the practice of dispensing with all products derived wholly or partly from animals. The problem with the word product is that it denotes something that was manufactured to be bought and sold, and this is basically some anti capitalist sentiment or even pro communist sentiment, which I don't really like because the problem with this is that some vegans, I've heard them say stuff like, yeah, or at least they're making it out to be like the thing that we do to the animals is wrong because someone is making a profit out of it.
Yeah, that's absolutely stupid and crazy. So as long as somebody's not making a profit, it's okay to exploit animals, therefore not be vegan. Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Um, whatever terminology you want to call it, product, whatever, through any other type of human political system, um, of politics, yeah, whatever. Like animal exploitation itself needs to is what is the refraining from animal exploitation is should be the purest definition of veganism. It should be null and void, no interpretation. That should be as simple as that. Of course, there's some nuances of issues we can debate about that and come to a consensus to understand within that definition um is either okay or not okay, but that there's no interpretation of that. The whole purpose of veganism is to refrain all exploitation of animals from, so leave the animals alone, period. And then whatever outside of animals that we end up doing, that's um you know that's you know that's allowed, basically. um so like I said, the within the capitalist system, this vegan whey product, or within the whatever communist system, whatever you want to call it, I don't even know, I don't live in a communist society, but how whatever they want, whatever terminology they want to use. So that's besides the point. Animals have nothing, have no say in that. Leave all the human politics and shit out of this. It's just fucking stupid. It's like it's like an issue of human children refraining from sexual and human children abuse when they have no say in the adult human politics. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just stop with that. That's completely hypocritical, and it's a it's besides the whole point of animals, basically.
And no, that's not why it's wrong. That's not, I mean, of course it's wrong to make a profit out of an animal. Of course that's wrong, that's horrible. But that's not why it's horrible. It's horrible because you're inflicting this horrible pain and suffering on these innocent sentient beings for your own purposes.
Yeah, inflicting. So the other way to say it is um directly causing directly um exploiting animals. So like physically exploiting animalia beings, basically. That should be the direct interpretation of what Turning Veganese has said there. So yeah, just the terminology needs to be clear. So we need to agree that the problem is animal exploitation directly. So um, and yeah, basically using any animal being is not vegan. So refraining from animal being exploitation use is should be the definition of veganism in the simple terms.
Even if you sell them or not, they don't know anything about the stock market or anything like that. Chickens don't know they're going to become KFC buckets or McNuggets. They don't know of these things. And they don't care. You think they care when they're being life shackled? You think chickens care if they're gonna become some bucket of whatever? No, they don't care about that part. They don't want to be abused, mutilated, and murdered.
Yeah, all they care about is don't impose your views onto them. That's all they care about. Leave them alone. Let them do. what they want to do within their wilderness basically. Yeah, simple as that. Like within society, yeah, we should have rules in place for them within it, but it should be in a non-exploitative way. So we should not be using them, but we should be rescuing them and and providing them health care as see fit, but not testing on them, not doing anything to gain human benefit from them basically. It should be only on their benefit simply. Which would be directly being non-exploitative towards them. But by eating them, that's clearly not for their benefit because we don't. First of all, yeah, that's in their demise in of itself, and it's we can point out in directly also the health the negative health consequences regarding that consumption that would end up directly causing to some vegans definitions increasing overall rights violations, so like zoonotic diseases and shit like that. So yeah, either way, that yeah, stuff like that I would not qualify. I just wanted to point that out, but that's besides the point.
That's it. So that's the part we should concentrate, that's the part we should focus on, and not this anti capitalist weird sentiment. Because that's the other thing. One of the things that made me not want to be vegan more than a decade ago was that I thought that vegans were just really communists in disguise because they said some things like this.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So intersectionals like to they like to say they're inclusive, but in all actuality, human politics is always going to be two sides within an issue in human, at least within human society. So you're always going to be exclusive towards those people. So therefore, you directly cause them to be against your whole cause. So it's a direct contradiction. Which one is it? You want to be inclusive? You want to be exclusive? You can't have it both ways.
And I thought that it was just like a communist ploy to bring down the capitalism and drive these successful industries to bankruptcy. And I know that this is the angle of many vegans out there, many animal activists, but it's just a misguided angle that has nothing to do with anything because you're not doing it for the animals, it seems to me. You're just doing it because you hate capitalism and you're making the animal thing be like your excuse to hate on it. So I don't know. I don't like it. So to me, this word, I don't know. It's kind of weird. We need to give a definition of it.
Precisely. You're right. There's no there should be no debate on that. That should be fucking obvious. But for certain people, it's not obvious. So we got to point that out directly within either a debate or a text discussion. But whatever. Yeah.
That doesn't leave way to interpret an anti-capitalist sentiment per se. All the wordings in this definition need to be about the animals. Really, that's all it needs to be. Now,
Completely agree.
so that's why we think that what we need to do in this definition is to change the way we see and perceive non-human animals. We need to see them as non-consumable, inedible
Yeah. Basically, being non-exploitative to them. Treat them like they're like human children, basically.
individuals whose lives, bodies, and secretions do not belong to us in any way.
Completely agree.
Now, I also think that this definition needs to explain many other forms of exploitation because it doesn't tell us anything about these things. It doesn't talk about the zoo, the aquarium, horse riding, or second-hand wool, second-hand leather. And some vegans exploit these things and they're like, well, what's wrong with horse riding? What's wrong with second-hand wool? Yeah, it is wrong, and if you don't see it, I think the problem is with you.
Yeah, I agree. You explain and an already abused animal, which the rights violation has already occurred, but the exploitation in itself is wrong to still incur in. Like you wouldn't, if it was a human and their remains, if their remaining skin or whatever left of their body part remains and it's in and it was to be used, like would you not say that that the message of that to be using body parts of remains of humans who've been murdered to be okay because it's done was done like basically using the right makes might makes right argument basically like what's done is done and, I mean you can't yeah this whether you do it or not I mean has no direct effect, but the message is the problem, right? So you're saying it's okay to use abuse victims. So like if we will go back to the Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust specifically, all those Jewish who were murdered in Auschwitz or whatever, and we started using their bones or something, the remaining of their bones or materials to make something. Well, wouldn't y'all say like, wouldn't y'all be like, what the, you know, like that's absolutely wrong. Like the message of that is wrong. You should not be exploiting the body parts of already abused beings just to create a whether it's to make a profit or to create a benefit for human consumption. It's absolutely retarded. It's like you know what I'm saying? Like okay, so like if a if a murderer was a murdered human, and then we give some time later, and then we still somehow we storage the human remains, and then we decide okay, well we need human research, and since already dead body can't consent, okay, well let's go ahead and take those human remains and create that research. Like that's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like would you do that to your own family member? Would you do that to somebody you care about, their body, right? Like, it's complete hypocritical, you know? So we should not be doing that to animals. Like, whether you care about them or not is besides the point. Yeah, leave all the animal beings and their body parts alone. We have technology and we have the intelligence to create non-animal exploitative products. Simple. That's all. That's the answer right there. Stop being lazy and stop being selfish. So, so that's basically all it is to that.
But this needs to be addressed and explained fully. Another thing that needs to be included in this
Hold on, I want to go back a little bit because I think it was also something else I want to say.
zoo, the aquarium, horse riding,
Yeah, so the only thing that should be this should be obviously no profit based to holding any animals. There's also be no direct there should be no benefit to humans to house animals. It should only be to the animals' benefit basically. So like rescuing all that there's no human benefit to rescuing animals literally. There's no human benefit to saving any animals either. So again, these are not the point of veganism is to be non-selfish, is to be compassionate, is to be at your own expense, giving your services to help another. That's the whole point of it. But in this case, it's to help another uh enemy being. Um, Otherwise, again, it can't be veganism because it's a first of all it's a non-consensual and it's a abusive type of relationship going on. Otherwise, um, again, we don't do this with regards to like human relationships. We don't say, okay, I'm gonna pay you money, then I get to rape you, right? Like it's fucking, it's insane. Like don't you understand what I'm saying? Like, if you have a problem with what I just said or like the logic of it, again, challenge me to debate. We can schedule it in the future, and we can do a live Discord discussion with anything I said. But other than that, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Like, I don't need to explain any further. That logic should be self-explanatory.
or second-hand wool, second-hand leather. And some vegans exploit these things and they're like, well, what's wrong with horse riding? What's wrong with second-hand wool? Yeah, it is wrong, and if you don't see it, I think the problem is with you.
Yeah, and the only way to ensure that none of that is yeah, is basically to be completely refraining from the use of animals, basically. Like the only thing that is not using animals is rescuing them and providing like healthcare, um, and and saving their life. Allowing them to do what they do and without us taking from them. It's simple. Simple as that.
But this needs to be addressed and explained fully. Another thing that needs to be included in this definition is that veganism is about what we humans do to non human animals. It needs to be perfectly clear that this is about us and the things we do to them.
Yeah, and Gary Ruskin made that point clear too. In his speech when he was doing activism, I remember I recall from his 2010 speech. He was yeah, what we do is what we're responsible for. We're not responsible for anything outside of our civilization. Um, so for us to be um, basically, we should not be worried about what's going on in the wilderness, what animals doing in the wilderness. We should be worried about what's going on within our civilized society. Um, once it's able to be practicable to be able to extend outside of human society, then we should extend those practices to the wilderness. But until that's absolutely practicable, um, which is it currently isn't and is not possible either, because we have a lot, a limit of resources first of all, and all that, and obviously we need to prioritize our problems in of itself and our actions, and we can directly tackle those problems and actions what we do, but we cannot control what non-interpretable, you know, um, basically like uh mental the mental retarded and the mental childlike state of non-human enemy and beings outside of what we have established of rules we set, I think that's straightforward and it makes sense. Um but yeah, as far as now, that needs to be stated to be clear. We're focusing on human actions. um And once we are able to practically um, extend those human actions into the non-civilized world, then that should then be the inclusion of to be logically consistent with our beliefs onto the non-civilized world, basically. I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry if I'm not completely concise and clear, but feel free to comment what is unclear, and I'll try to comment in response to making it clear. But other than that, yeah, I'll just let that be it. Hopefully that made sense.
Whatever things animals do among themselves in their own habitats or whatever, out of our jurisdiction, we don't have to intervene with it, interfere, or anything like that. This is just about what we do to them. I don't want to talk too much about this part, but there's like this weird thing that some vegans are saying.
Yeah, like vegan games. Basic argument is as long as the act is causing a decrease of overall rights violations, is therefore vegan um, to do, whether it directly harms animal or not, basically. Um, so like killing in the cases where killing Holocaust and carnivorous or omnivorous animals was to result in increase of enemy of being well-being and decrease of overall rights violations towards them. So like the right to life, right to yeah, basically, yeah, right to life, basically. So protecting their existences, right? Then that would be justified. But again, yeah, we need to first focus on. We should be prioritizing what we do. It makes no sense to be extending what animal beings who cannot interpret what our values to towards them. That's like uh I don't even know what to compare that to. That's just I think that's completely insane when we don't even have our own shit together. Like it's just it's a direct contradiction within our own actions, right? So yeah, let's focus on what we do, and then once it's able to once we fix all our issues, then we'll focus on what others who cannot interpret what we have as a necessary value to follow, um, in a non-civilized or a foreign civilized society, or in a million being um, population to do it, right. So if you understand what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying. I'm gonna start rambling. Let's just go on.
That, well, I don't know. If David Rams refuses to talk about it publicly, I refuse to as well. I'm not going to step on that landmine. No chance in hell, I'm not gonna do that. But really, this needs to be perfectly clear that this is about what humans do to non human animals. I'm just saying.
Completely agree.
So, now, my final thoughts. Hey, I understand that we don't live in a vegan world, and some things are actually unavoidable right now. But this also should not be taken as a loophole or as some sort of gotcha or something like, oh yeah, well, you can't avoid doing these things to these types of animals, so you're not really a vegan. That kind of mindset that needs to go, and that needs to be also addressed and explained fully in this new definition.
Yeah, I'm fine with the wording that says seeks to exclude. So yeah, currently, yeah, there's a lot of things that are unable to be avoided. So that seeks to exclude should be included in the final definition, or the updated definition. So I agree with that part. Yeah. Like driving cars, there's some animal ingredients in within car parts and stuff like that. It's not just metal and rubber and shit like that. There's some I know there's something within glue that's so there's some glue used in manufacturing and putting together stuff within manufacturing that comes from animals. So yeah, like animal fat basically. So yeah, again, there's ways we cannot completely avoid within currently as vegans, but yeah, seeking to exclude that should be the whatever we can do to improve, and we should, that's our ethical, that's our obligation. We should be seeking to exclude that practice. Yeah, that's that should be as immediately addressed basically.
Because of course, we don't live in a vegan world. Many of the things that we do are absolutely horrible, not to any fault of our own, the vegans, but because the peoples who came up with these horrible systems of use, abuse, and exploitation and resources, they didn't care about non-human animals. They didn't care about other humans even, or about anything. So that's it. That's the thing. So it's not our fault that certain types of processes involve harming animals in some capacity. So the things we can't avoid, we should make it very clear that even though they are unavoidable today, we're going to strive and work to make them avoidable as soon as possible.
Agreed.
And that we care about these other issues as well, so that we can finally put to bed this ridiculous nonsense of the crop deaths though argument.
Agreed.
And that needs to go, and that needs to go now. So, well, here it is, more or less. This is kind of my view on it. Now, beautiful people in the audience, please share your thoughts and ideas about this. What do you think? You think I'm some crazy, unhinged lunatic who doesn't know what he's talking about? You think the vegan society's definition is perfect as it is and nothing needs any explanation whatsoever? You think Alex O'Cullen is an amazing animal rights advocate? Leave it in the comments. Leave it in the comments. And well, I don't know. Or do you have your own version of this thing? Have you thought about it? What did I leave out? Is there something that you would change about what I said? Or, something that I didn't address in this thing? Some issue that I didn't talk about? Please leave it in the comments. I'll see you there. So, as I always say at the end of my videos, stop hurting animals and start turning veganese. Till next time.
Yeah, that's a base take. Turning veganese, you got it on point. There's nothing really I would really significant disagree with you. Basically everything I said was in agreement with you. It was just either a further explanation or a added stipulation. To be logically consistent. But other than that, yeah, we're pretty much in the same um boat of agreement. I'm gonna stop talking now because I know this has been a long recorded. So I'll leave it there. Thanks for everybody end up watching this video and this reaction to turning veganese, and hope you take care, have a good day, and stay safe. Love that ending.